Hello. I wanted to start with a little backstory to this practice. Um, I was trying to think about what to sort of the theme to make this practice about, and I was thinking about conversations that I've had with friends and watching the news and reading the news and all that stuff, and I was making dinner, and as ideas often happen when you're in the middle of something somewhat mundane, um, I got a spark of a quote for an idea. So I stopped making dinner, and I went to my bookshelf, and I started digging around and looking for a book um, to find the quote, and I didn't find it. But what, and I don't even remember what it was now, but what I did find, what fell out of one of my books, was this CD case from, I think it's Godspeed You, Black Emperor, or A Silver Mount Zion, one of them. I can't remember, but it hung on my wall for 100 years. I guess probably until I moved into this house a couple of years ago. Um, and in every apartment I had before that, and every new house I had before that, the sticky stuff still, I think Joe's sticky stuff still stuck on the back of it. But it's this. This fell out of one of the books, which is one of my favorite images of all time, I think. And I started thinking about hope, um, because hope is great and is difficult. And you know, Emily Dickinson wrote that poem, which I don't even know all of it, but I know hope is a thing with feathers. Is, I don't know if it's the name of it or if it's just part of it, but I think about that sometimes, and I tend to disagree. Right? I mean, I don't want to disagree with her in the genuine beauty of hope and its selflessness, but hope can be many things. Um, if you have all your hopes in someone, you run the potential of being disappointed. If you hope without action or faith, um, you run the risk of disappointment and anger. Um, Hope can be disguised as many things. It can, or many things can use hope as a disguise. Um, and it's kind of a weird thing to say, but imagine the toxicity of sitting on your bum and hoping things get better. Um, for a while, it may work, but at some point, you have to stop hoping and start acting. Um, which I don't know. I may be wrong. I don't know, but in my experience, this is, hope was always the killer for me. As with many people who I think were repetitively disappointed, maybe in their younger days, by people, you lose hope and you lose faith in people. Um, and that can lead to danger, you know, and neediness and emptiness. Um, so hope is not a thing with feathers. I think hope is a hammer. Um, I think hope is a hammer. It's a tool, and how you use it depends on how you hold it. You can, a hammer can be used to tear down, and a hammer can be used to rebuild. And if you sit and hope blindly and inactively, um, you're not building. So there's that. um, so I made this practice. Is, it goes through 3 warrior poses, 1, 2, and 3 poses of strength and action. And, it brings you from inward rotation and insular work to the more active hip opening work, and then a series of chest opening, which is energizing and most especially heart opening and chest opening and throat opening, and promoting action and voice, um, so that we can hope for better, but then act better and be better. And like Joseph Campbell says, um, and I'm not gonna do it verbatim because I don't remember it, but he says, you know, you can't save the world, right? But you can save yourself. And in doing that, you save the world. A vital person vitalizes. So if you imbue hope and action in yourself and energy, that's my dog scratching, and energy into yourself with hope and joy and faith, you can build new things. So before we begin, I'd ask you to find a comfortable seated position, either in Virasana, which is on your knees with a block underneath your bum, or in Easy Pose, crisscross applesauce, with your legs folded and a towel underneath your bum, kind of sitting on the edge to neutralize your spine. Once you've found your comfortable seated position, bring your hands to your knees or the tops of your thighs, either face up if you're feeling open and energized, or face down if you're feeling a little bit more introspective. And allow your eyes to softly close. Call your attention to your breathing, to the rhythmic ebb and flow that is your breath. The rise and fall of your chest. Bring your attention now to the place where your body meets the earth, yielding to the power of gravity as it ties you to the ground. Bring your attention to what else you feel at this time, at this place. The air on your skin, the weight of your hands on your legs. Call attention to what you hear at this time, at this place. What is the soundtrack of this moment? As thoughts begin to enter your head, you can acknowledge them and watch them as they go. These thoughts do not serve you now. Allow any worries of the future, any worries of the past, to release themselves and go. These worries do not suit you now. As we sit together in this moment, begin to call attention to your hands, balling each one into a fist. As you inhale, begin to tighten your fist, clenching your hand. And as you exhale, release. Call attention to the weightlessness your body feels upon its release, to the difference in your muscles, in your body, and your mind. On your next inhale, let's do it again. Tightening that fist, feeling the tension that builds in your muscles, the change in your body. And on your next exhale, release. And take a few breaths in and out. And when you are ready, you can allow your eyes to softly open. And we will begin our practice in Dandasana, which is staff pose. So if you're on your knees, you can take your block out from underneath your bum and put it to the side. And get your folded blanket, putting it sort of perching your bum on the edge of that blanket. And if you're in easy pose, all you have to do here is straighten your legs in front of you. Activating those feet so your toes are pointed directly towards the ceiling, and tent your fingers onto the earth. Grounding your bottom, grounding your sit bone into the earth, pressing the backs of your thighs, activated feet. Deep breaths in and out. And on an exhale, release your fingers, stretching your hands high above you. On an exhale, bring your hands down to a T. And as you inhale, find a slight back bend here in Dandasana, pressing your arms backwards, flaring your ribcage forward. Inhale, release your back bend, lift your hands up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, fold forwards, reaching your fingers towards the space beyond your toes. We don't want to limit ourselves to just our toes. If you, at this point, are unable to reach your toes, grab a strap, wrap it around the ball mounts of your feet, and hold on to the strap at either side of your feet with either hand. Breathe into this, pressing the ball mount of your feet against your hands or against the strap. And on your next inhale, lift up, reaching your hands up towards the ceiling once again. As you exhale, dropping your hands back down to a T. And on an inhale, finding that back bend again, pressing your arms backwards, flaring your ribcage forwards. On an exhale, you can release your back bend, and on an inhale, bring your arms up to the sky. Exhale, folding forward once again to the space beyond your toes. Pressing the ball mount of your feet either against your hands or against the strap. And on an inhale, sit back up, stretching up high towards the sky. And on an exhale, bringing your hands back down to the earth. On an inhale, bend your right knee, bring the sole of your right foot to the earth at the space sort of next to your left knee. On an inhale, lift up, bringing your hands towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, circle your right arm back, stepping your right hip back with it. Landing that hand behind your right hip and embracing your right knee with your left elbow. Hold this. If you want a deeper twist, you can bring your left elbow to the other side of your right knee and find that deeper twist on your next exhale. Inhale one more, and as you exhale, release your left arm from your knee, release your right hand from the ground, circle your right arm up, and then bring it back down to the earth, extending your right leg, and then bending your left knee, bring the sole of your left foot to the earth next to your right knee, stretching up high to the ceiling, and on an exhale, circling that left arm back and landing it to the space behind your left hip, stepping that left hip along with it. Embracing your left knee with your right elbow, or if you want a deeper twist, bringing it to the other side. You can release your right arm from your left knee and undo your twist, coming back forward. Go ahead and bring the soles of your feet to the earth, scooching your bottom sort of back towards the top of the mat. Inhale, and on an exhale, we're going to lower ourselves down either by rolling vertebrae by vertebrae or going to your elbows and then to your back, or you can grab the backs of your thighs and roll down, whichever way you want to do it. You'll find yourself in constructive rest pose, the soles of feet to the earth, knees bent, arms down by your hips. And on an inhale, we're going to straighten your left leg and bring your right leg up so that the sole of your right foot's pointing towards the ceiling. Bring a strap around the ball mount of your right foot, holding that strap on either side, pressing the ball mount of your foot against that strap and breathing. Pressing that left thigh against the earth, making sure that left foot's still activated. On an inhale, take your strap so that both sides are in the right hand. Bring your left hand out to a T, and on an exhale, release that foot sort of back and wide so it's at maybe a 45-degree angle to your body. Pressing that left hip against the earth, pressing that left leg against the earth, keeping it all nice and active, opening up those hips. Inhale, come back to center. Bend your left knee, bring the sole of your left foot to the earth, press it into the earth, lifting your hips up slightly, move them to the right a little bit and drop them back down again, and then extend your left leg. Switch the straps from your right hand to your left hand,
bringing your right arm out to a T. And on an exhale, twist your body to the left, bringing that right foot to the left, landing on either a block or the ground. If you find your right shoulder's lifting up a lot when you twist, land on a block or a bolster. It'll get a more productive stretch. On your next inhale, going to untwist, lifting that right leg up back to center. Bring the sole of your left foot to the earth and shift your hips back to center. Drop them down. Release the strap from your right foot, bringing your right foot back to the earth. And then take the strap and wrap it around your left foot for the same thing on the left side. Extend your right leg out, bringing the strap around the left ball mount of your left foot, and placing the strap in either hand. Press the ball mount of your left foot against the strap, breathing into it. And on your next inhale, take the strap so that both sides are in your left hand. And as you exhale, drift your left leg out and back to about a 45-degree angle to your body, pressing that right hip against the earth, pressing the right leg against the earth. On your next inhale, you can come back to center with that leg. Bend your right knee, press the right sole foot to the earth, lifting your hips a little bit, bringing them to the left a little bit and dropping them down. Go ahead and extend that right leg out again, and then switch the straps from your left hand to your right hand, extending your left arm out at a T. And as you exhale, dropping that left leg to your right. Once again, you can land on a block or a bolster if you want. On your next inhale, lift that leg back up to center. Bring the sole of your right foot back to the earth, lifting your hips up, shifting them back to center and dropping them back down. Lose the strap from your left foot, bending it, bringing it back to the earth. And for a moment, in constructive rest pose, let's do a body scan and see if there's a difference in our hips with just that series of stretching.
Even when it's on fire. Especially when it's on fire, but the smoke makes him tired. Took a blade to the chest like he was opening a body bag. Sir, he's still alive in there, but Christ, then remove the tag.
When you're ready, we're going to roll up either with our arms extended in front of us, or you can prop up on your elbows. You can grab the backs of your thighs to help you, whatever you want to do to roll up. We're going to find a seat, and from this position, you're going to drop your knees to either side of you, pressing the soles of your feet together. You can ground your sit bones by pulling your haunches back a little bit, your haunches being your butt cheeks in this instance, and grounding your sit bone to the earth. If you have a little strain or tenderness in the knees or tightness in the inner thighs, you can take a block and support your knees with that block. Stretch up high to the sky, and on an exhale, fold forward for Konasana.
It must have been a changing of the tides, but I've come to assume it was the changing of a mind. Once upon a blood moon, they skimmed rocks for the whole day. He imagined he was throwing rotten parts of himself that broke away, so he couldn't stop. Fascinated
Inhale,
by the way they
lifting
skip
back
top,
up again, stretching high to the sky, and then release your feet, release your knees. If you have blocks, ditch them to the side, and roll over so that you're in a tabletop position. Wrist creases pointed towards the short edges of your mat. Elbows and shoulders and wrists align, knees and hips align, and we're going to do a series of cat-cow. Cow being on an inhale, releasing your belly to the earth, untucking your tailbone, and lifting your chin towards the sky, really filling those lungs with air. As you exhale, you're going to tuck your tailbone, suck your belly in, take your chin and tuck it towards your chest, and press all of that air out of your lungs. On an inhale, you're going to return to cow, matching your breath with your body movement. As you exhale, returning to cat. Follow the rhythm of your breath, matching your breath to your body. for 5 rounds.
Watched every last one of our friends set sail, and I was the only living boy left in Providence, collecting death certificates and the rest of my documents just for origami purposes. I gave them to the ocean, like, hey, look at me, I'm great at folding. Guess I'll just do this the rest of my life. It's got to do with lots of loving.
And once you've finished your 5 rounds of cat-cow, you can find a place of stillness in your spine. Step your hands up about a hand's length to the top of your mat, and on an inhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips up, and as you exhale, press them back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. We'll stay here for 5 breaths, pedaling out our feet, pressing our palms to the earth as if we're pushing something very, very heavy away, finding a slight micro bend at the knees. Find a place of stillness, releasing into Adho Mukha Svanasana, feeling the power of this pose. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, step your right foot in between your hands, making sure that your right ankle and your right knee are aligned. Press the sole of your right foot to the earth, dig your left toes into the earth, pressing them on an inhale, lifting your chest for high lunge, bringing your hands either to your hips or up above with your ears. Inhale, and on your next exhale, drop down, bring your hands to the earth again, stepping your right foot back to plank. On your next inhale, lifting your hips up, and as you exhale, back for Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale nice and deep, and as you exhale, step your left foot forward and bringing it to the space between your hands. Press your left sole of foot to the earth, press your right toes into the earth, and on an inhale, lift up for high lunge. Inhale, and as you exhale, fold forward, bringing your hands back down to the earth, stepping your left foot back to find plank position. Inhale, lifting your hips up, and as you exhale, press them back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, drift forward to find plank once again, holding it for 3 breaths. And on your next exhale, drop your knees to the wide edges of the mat and press your bottom back to your heels for child's pose. From child's pose, you want to straighten your knees, leaving your forearms grounded to the earth and tucking your toes in for low plank. You really want to dig your forearms into the earth, press them in, tightening that abdomen, tightening your core. Imagine everything sucking in towards your belly button. On your next exhale, you can release your belly to the mat, keeping your forearms grounded into the mat and untucking your toes. Pressing the tops of your toes and tops of your thighs to the earth, pressing your forearms to the earth for Sphinx pose.
The milk is sour. I've barely been to college and I've been down.
And then release Sphinx pose, bringing your face to the mat, and then taking the palms of your hands to the mat, sort of even with your chest. Pressing those palms into the earth, leaving your toes untucked. You're going to lift up through half plank, nice and straight. When you reach the top, tuck your toes in, lifting your hips up and back for Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale, and on an exhale, you're going to walk your feet up to meet your hands. Let's hang here for a few breaths, really finding that inversion, finding the release in our back, pressing feet to earth. If you can touch the ground here, you can try to put your hands underneath your feet so that the ball mount of your foot is pressed into the palm of your hand, and then kind of press them against each other. So pressing up with your hands and down with your feet to find a nice deep stretch. If your hands are tucked under your feet, go ahead and release them. And on an inhale, everybody curl up vertebrae by vertebrae to find standing, and then reaching up high to the sky for Urdhva Hastasana. Take your right wrist into your left hand and begin a lateral stretch towards your left, pressing that right foot to the earth, breathing into that right lung. Inhale, come back to center. Switch hands so that your right hand is embracing your left wrist, and as you exhale, lateral stretch towards the right, pressing that left foot into the earth, breathing into that left lung. Inhale, come back to center. Circle your arms back and down to find Tadasana. We'll breathe here for 2 breaths, pressing our feet into the earth. And then lift our hands up, stretching high to the sky. Come down through prayer position, folding forward at the hips, finding our hands on the earth. On an inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release. Plant your hands to the ground. Step your right foot back and then your left to find plank position. Exhale, releasing into the mat, face smushing floor. Untuck your toes, bringing them to the long edges of the mat. Press the tops of your feet to the mat. Press the tops of your thighs to the mat. Lift your hands up slightly on an inhale. Activate that back for Bhujangasana. Exhale, release. Pressing those palms to the earth. Bring your feet back to center. Press your hands into the earth, lifting up, and then bringing your bottom to your heels for child's pose. Lift your hands up, bringing them to the ground just outside of your knees. And then lift up for Vajrasana, lightning bolt pose, thunderbolt pose. And assuming that you have a block nearby, go ahead and grab that block. Release your right foot from under your bum and stick the block there instead, placing the sole of your right foot to the earth, and then bringing your hands behind you and landing them with your fingers pointed away from you to the ground behind you. On an inhale, press that right foot into the earth, lifting your hips up, stretching that left front leg. Exhale, release your hips back to the ground. Pull that block out from beneath you. Bring your knee back there to find Vajrasana again. And then tabletop. And then plank. And then lifting up and back for Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale. And on an exhale, step your left foot up and then your right to find forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release. And on an inhale, curl up vertebrae by vertebrae to find standing, reaching up high, high, high in Urdhva Hastasana. And as you exhale, coming down through prayer, hinging forward at the hips for forward fold. Hands to shins on an inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release into the mat and step your left foot back and then your right to find plank. Inhale, and on an exhale, lower down, all the way, face smooshing floor. Untuck your toes, bring them to the long edge of the mat and press them to the mat. Press your tops of your thighs to the mat, hands lifted up, and on an inhale, Bhujangasana. Exhale, release. Bring your toes back to center. Press your palms into the earth, bending your knees, bringing your booty back to your heels for child's pose. Bring your hands to the ground right next to your knees and press up into Vajrasana. Grabbing that block, releasing your left heel from behind you. Put your block underneath your booty on your left side and place that left sole of foot to the earth, dropping back your hands so your hands are behind you, fingers pointed away. Press the left sole of foot to the earth and lift your hips on an inhale, stretching the right side. Exhale, release your hips back into the earth, sitting back up again, taking the block out from beneath your left bottom. Find Vajrasana again. And then tabletop. And then plank. On an inhale, lifting your hips up. And as you exhale back for Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And step your right foot up and then your left to find forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release. Inhale, curl up vertebrae by vertebrae to find standing. Reaching high to the sky in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, coming down through prayer once again in a forward fold. Hands to shins on an inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release, pressing your hands into the earth and stepping your right foot back and then your left to find plank. Exhale, lowering down, untucking those toes, pressing them to the earth, pressing thighs to the earth, this time with your hands tented, back bending for Bhujangasana. Exhale, release, bring your feet back to center. Press your hands to the earth, lifting yourself up and back so that your booty's going towards your heels for child's pose. Bring your hands to the space right next to your knees. Sit up for Vajrasana. Untuck your right leg, sticking a block underneath your right butt cheeks. Press that right sole of foot to the earth. Drop your hands behind you. And on an inhale, lift your hips, pressing that right foot into the earth. Exhale, release your hips. Sitting back up, taking the block out from beneath you. Finding Vajrasana again. And then tabletop. And then plank. Inhale, lifting your hips up. Exhale, pressing them back for Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Step your left foot up and then your right for forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, lift halfway up. Exhale, release. Inhale, curl up vertebrae by vertebrae to find standing, stretching up high to the sky for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, come down through prayer to forward fold. Hands to shins, inhale halfway up. Exhale, release. Step your left foot back and then your right to find plank. Lower down all the way to the mat, face smooshing mat. Untuck those toes, bring them to the long edges of the mat. Press the tops of feet to the earth. Press the tops of thighs to the earth. Those hands tented. Activate that back. On an inhale, Bhujangasana. Exhale, release. Plant your palms into the earth. Bring your feet back to center. And on an inhale, press up. Bringing that booty back to your heels for child's pose. Bring your hands to the ground outside your knees and sit up for Vajrasana. Inhale, untucking that left foot, putting your block underneath your booty there. Drop your hands behind you, fingers pointed away from you. Press that left sole of foot to the earth, and on an inhale, lift your hips up for a nice stretch on your right side. exhale, release your booty back to the earth. Sitting back up, losing that block, coming back to Vajrasana. And then tabletop, and then plank. On an inhale, lifting your booty up. And as you exhale, pressing it back for Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And step your right foot up, and then your left for forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release. Inhale, curl up vertebrae by vertebrae to find standing. Stretching your arms up high to the sky in Urdhva Hastasana. Making sure that your feet are hips width apart and parallel to the long edges of the mat. On an exhale, you're going to sit back as if you're sitting in a chair. Your hands can come to prayer, or they can stay up by your ears. And on your next exhale, you can straighten your knees and continue that fold, that forward fold. Finding your hands by the earth. Bring them to your shins. Lift halfway up on an inhale. Exhale, plant your hands to the earth and step or jump back to plank. Lowering down through Bhujangasana or Chaturanga to upward facing dog. And then downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right foot up, heel to the ceiling, toes to the ground. And we're going to hold this for 3 breaths. Making sure that your hips are not opening wide, that your hips are nice and square to the earth. You should feel a pretty deep stretch on your left side. On your next exhale, you can now bring that knee into your chest and step your right foot into the space between your hands. You can bring your back foot up a little bit and then turn it at a 45-degree angle, pressing it into the earth, bending that front knee, making sure your knee and ankle are in alignment. Press up to Warrior One. On your next inhale, straighten that front knee, squeezing everything inwards. On an exhale, begin to hinge forward at the hips, finding either blocks or the earth with your hands. Bend that front knee. On an inhale, lift your chest up back to Warrior One. And then folding forward down all the way this time, hands meeting earth. Step your right foot back to meet your left for plank. Going down through Bhujangasana or Chaturanga to upward facing dog and then downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your left foot up, heel to the ceiling, toes to the ground. Holding it here for a few breaths. And on your next exhale, go ahead and tuck that left knee into your chest, stepping it into the space between your hands. Bop your right back leg up a little bit, turning it at a 45-degree angle, and pressing the right sole of the foot to the earth, making sure your knee and ankle are in alignment. Press the soles of your feet to the earth, and on an inhale, lift up to Warrior One. On your next inhale, you can straighten that front knee. And as you exhale, hinge forward at the hips, bringing your hands either to the earth or to blocks for Parsvatanasana, pyramid pose. Bend that front knee. On an inhale, lifting back up to Warrior One. And as you exhale, folding forward again, this time stepping your left foot back to meet your right and plank. Lowering down through Bhujangasana or Chaturanga to upward facing dog and then downward facing dog. And step or jump your feet to meet your hands. Inhale, bringing your hands to your shins and lifting halfway up. Exhale, release. Inhale, curl up vertebrae by vertebrae, bending those knees generously, finding a chair. Hands either at prayer or by your ears. And on your next inhale, press the soles of feet to the earth, straightening those knees and finding Urdhva Hastasana. And as you exhale, sitting once again back like you're sitting in a chair, hands either in prayer or by your ears. On your next exhale, you can straighten your knees and continue that hinging forward at the hips to find forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, lifting halfway up. Exhale, press your palms into the earth and step or jump back to plank. Lowering down through Bhujangasana or Chaturanga to upward facing dog, and then finding downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right foot up, heel to the ceiling, toes to the ground for three-legged dog, and we're going to hold it.
I've got this store-bought way of saying I'm okay.
Exhale, bring that right knee into your chest and step into the space between your hands. Bring your left foot up a little bit, turn it at a 45-degree angle and press it into the earth. And on an inhale, press into Warrior One. On your next inhale, straighten that front knee. And as you exhale, hinge forward at the hips, squeezing your legs energetically together. And your hands find either blocks or the mat. Go ahead and bend that front knee. On an inhale, pressing back up to Warrior One. And then hinging forward once again, finding your hands on the mat. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Do your Vinyasana, whether it's Bhujangasana or Chaturanga. Eventually finding ourselves in downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting your left foot up, heel to the ceiling, toes to the ground, and let's hold. Making sure our hips are nice and square, but they're not opening up. As you exhale, go ahead and bring your knee into your chest, stepping your left foot to the space between your hands. Bring that right leg up a little bit, planting your left foot to the earth at a 45-degree angle. And on an inhale, press into Warrior One. On your next inhale, you can straighten that front knee. And as you exhale, hinge forward at the hips, hands either finding blocks or the mat. On your next inhale, you can bend that front knee once again, pressing into Warrior One. And as you exhale, hinging forward at the hips, hands planted on earth, stepping your left foot back to meet your right, and travel through your Vinyasana. Eventually finding downward facing dog, where you will step or jump your feet to meet your hands. Bring your hands to shins, lift halfway up. Exhale, release into the earth, and on an inhale, curl up vertebrae by vertebrae to find standing. Stretching your hands up high to the sky for Urdhva Hastasana. And as you exhale, you're going to sit back once again as if you're sitting in a chair. Hands in prayer or up by your ears, whatever you want. On your next exhale, you can straighten your knees and fold forward. Bring your hands to your shins on an inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale and plant your hands into the earth. Step or jump back to plank. Lowering down, traveling through your Vinyasana to find downward facing dog eventually. Inhale, bringing your right heel to the ceiling, toes to the ground. And as you exhale, stepping that right foot up to the space between your hands. Bring your left foot up a little bit, turning at a 45-degree angle and planting it into the earth, making sure your alignment's good. Press up to Warrior One. And on an inhale, you're going to straighten your front leg. And as you exhale, bring your arms out to a T and twist towards your right. Inhale one more time. And this time, as you exhale, you're going to hinge down, bringing the left hand to either blocks or the earth for triangle twist. Inhale, lifting yourself back up. As you exhale, release your twist. Bring your hands up to your ears. Bend your front knee, and as you exhale, fold forward. Hands meeting earth. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Travel through your vinyasana. Eventually finding yourself in downward facing dog. Lift your left foot up, heel to the ceiling, toes to the ground, and as you exhale, step that left foot into the space between your hands, bringing that right foot up a little bit and turning it at an angle, pressing it into the earth, pressing your left sole of foot to the earth, making sure your knee and ankle are aligned on the left side. Press to warrior one. And on an inhale, straighten that front knee. Bring your arms out to a T on an exhale and twist to your left. Inhale one more time. And as you exhale, hinging down so that your right hand is going to meet a block or the earth. For Parvita Trikonasana on your right side. Triangle twist on your right side. Left side. My bad. Inhale, bring yourself back up. And as you exhale, undo your twist. Inhale, bring your hands up. And then folding down, hands meeting earth. Step your left foot back to meet your right. Find plank. Lower down, traveling through your vinyasana. To find downward facing dog. Inhale, and on an exhale, step or jump your feet to meet your hands. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release into the earth. Inhale, curling up vertebrae by vertebrae, keeping those knees generously built and sitting up into chair. And then press those soles of feet into the earth, straightening those knees to find standing, stretching those arms up for Urdhva Hastasana. And as you exhale, sitting back once again as if you're sitting in a chair. Exhale, straightening those knees, folding forward at the hips. Inhale, hands to shins, lift halfway up. Exhale, plant those hands into the earth and step or jump back to plank. Traveling through your vinyasana, whatever it may be. Eventually finding downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting your right heel to the ceiling, toes towards the ground. And as you exhale, tuck that right knee in towards your chest, stepping your foot into the space between your hands. Bring your left foot up a little bit, turning it into a 45-degree angle, smashing those soles of feet into the earth, checking your alignment on your right side. Lift up to warrior one. On your next inhale, you're going to press your right sole of foot to the earth, bringing your body up towards your right foot, lifting your left foot off the earth, straightening that right knee as much as possible. Find warrior three. Hands can go out to your side in Superman. They can come to your chest in prayer. And you can bring your left foot down to the earth, or you can step it up to the top of the mat fully without letting it touch the ground, whatever you're into. Ground yourself, ground your feet into the earth, side by side, feet parallel. And on an inhale, begin to ground your left sole of foot into the earth, tucking your right knee into your chest, and using a strap, wrap it around the ball mount of your right foot. And putting the strap in either hand, begin to extend that right foot out in front of you so it's parallel to the earth. Pressing the ball mount of that foot against the strap, pulling the strap against your foot. Holding onto a chair if you want. And on your next exhale, we're going to twist once again to the right. So bring the strap so that both sides are in your left hand. And on your next exhale, begin to twist to the right, grounding that left foot into the earth. If you want to hold onto a chair for balance, that's fantastic. If you want to do your twist with a bent right knee instead of an extended one, that's fantastic too. It's whatever you're into, whatever you're able for right now. On your next exhale, you can release your twist, release your strap, and bring your right foot back to the earth. Here we're going to stand in Tadasana, and we're going to move from internal rotation to an external rotation of the hips, to an opening of the hips. So we've done a series of internal rotation exercises, right? And we've done a twist to neutralize that. So now we're going to open that door. We're going to open our hips, and we're going to do it doing a standing pigeon pose, which is an extremely powerful and extremely deep, wonderful pose that I love so well. So here we go. We're going to bring our consciousness to our hips. Okay? Sounds weird, but just do it. Start thinking about those hips. And thinking about how your body positions until now has been inward rotation, sucking everything inward. And we're going to change our minds here. We're going to change our minds so that now we're thinking of opening the hips. So just make a conscious choice, right, to energetically open those hips up. And as we do that, we're once again going to press our left solar foot to the earth, right? Bending our right knee, bringing it in towards our chest. If you want to grab the back of your right thigh, that's great. If you want to grab around your shin, super. Whatever you're able to do, whatever you're in for, that's great. So you're going to bring your knee towards your chest and then kind of bring that knee, bring that right thigh to the outside of your body. So if you know pigeon pose, imagine pigeon pose, but in a standing position. That's standing pigeon. Huzzah. You can embrace your right foot with your left hand, pressing everything upwards. And just concentrate on pressing your left sole of foot to the earth and, hugging your arms in so that your top part of your body is lifted up. The second time we do this, you'll feel that lift happen as your left sole of foot's grounded. Exhale, release your right foot, find standing again. And from here, we're going to step back slowly with control. You're going to ground your right foot, bending your right knee, stepping your left foot back, bringing it to a 45-degree angle, pulling your arms back kind of like I'm stringing an arrow into a bow. I don't know, I did that in a class once and it made me feel like a total badass. So that's how I like to do this now. Finding your gaze past your right middle finger, finding warrior 2. On your next exhale, drift your right arms over your head, drifting your left arm back to find peaceful warrior. Inhale, come back up to center. And on an exhale, bring your right arm to your right knee, extending your left arm to the ceiling or past your left ear for a side angle pose. Inhale, come back up to warrior 2. And on an exhale, cartwheel your hands down, stepping your right foot back to meet your left, travel through your vinyasana. To find yourself in downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your left foot up, heel to the ceiling, toes to the ground. And on an exhale, step your left foot up to the space between your hands. Bring your right foot up a little bit, landing it at a 45-degree angle, sole of foot on earth. Check your knee and ankle alignment. And on an inhale, press into warrior 1. On an inhale, you're going to ground that left foot into the earth, pressing it into the earth, shifting your body forward a small bit, lifting your right foot up, trying to get it horizontal to the earth, keeping your chest horizontal to the earth, arms extended behind you or at your hips or up at your ears, warrior 3. You can bring your right foot back down to the earth or step it all the way up to the top of your mat. Find standing. Tuck your left foot into your chest and wrap a strap around the left ball mount of that foot. With a strap on either side of your hands, extend that left foot out in front of you. Holding it up, keeping it horizontal to the earth. Wait, that didn't make sense. Keeping it parallel to the earth. On your next inhale, bring that strap so that both sides are in the right hand. Bring your left arm out to a T and exhale, twisting to the left. exhale, release that twist. Bend that knee, releasing your strap, and bring your left foot back to the earth. So we'll stand in Tadasana with our feet parallel, hips width apart, making once again that conscious choice to go from a place of inward rotation to external rotation. So just imagine your hips, just open that door. Here we're going to go through it, external rotation. On your next exhale, lift your left knee into your chest, bringing it once again to about the side of your body, embracing the left shin or back of left thigh with your left arm, and taking your left foot into your right hand and pressing that right foot into the earth. You're going to squeeze your body upward like something growing. Just imagine yourself lengthening, opening up that hip. On your next exhale, you can release that foot back into the earth, right? We're going to press that left foot into the ground once again, and slowly with control step that right foot back, landing it at a 45-degree angle, bending that left knee, stringing your arrow into your bow, pull it back and find warrior two, gaze past your left middle finger. Exhale, drift your right arm back, bring your left arm over you for peaceful warrior. Inhale, come back to center in warrior two, and as you exhale, bring your left elbow to your left knee for side angle pose. Inhale, come back up to center, warrior two, cartwheel your hands down, step your left foot back to meet your right, and travel through your vinyasana. Eventually going to downward facing dog. Inhale, and on your next exhale, jump or walk your feet to meet your hands. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, release. Inhale, curl up vertebrae by vertebrae, keeping those knees generously bent, finding chair. Press into the soles of the feet, straighten your knees, stretch up for Urdhva Hastasana, and circle your arms back down to your hips for Tadasana. From Tadasana, let's step to find so that we're facing the long edge of our mat. And we're going to go to a wide-legged pose, which means bring your arms out to a T, step your ankles away from each other so that they're level with your wrists. So your ankles should fall even with your wrists and when your arms are out at a T. And you want your toes to be pointed away from you at about a 45-degree angle. So your toes should be pointed towards the corners of your mat. And once you've found that, we're going to go into goddess pose. So you can bring your hands to your hips, inhale, and on an exhale, begin to bend your knees so that your knees and ankles are aligned. Activate your pelvic floor, pressing it upwards, pressing your soles of feet to the earth, hands at hips or at prayer, and let's hold goddess pose. As we hold these poses for this length of time, really turn into your body, turn your attention into your body. If something hurts, adjust. You know, if you're finding discomfort or difficulty, inquire it. Go to the place of hurt. Go to the place and figure out what you can do to make it better, to make it more comfortable. Even if it's getting out of that pose right now. You have control here. You don't have to power through the pain. You have the power to adjust for the pain. On your next inhale, you can press those feet into the earth, straightening your knees up to find a wide-legged stance once again. And you can just loosen up your body. We're going to do goddess pose again, but you can get out of your wide-legged stance and sort of shake your body out. Do whatever feels good right now. And we can find a wide-legged stance once again. And you want your toes to be pointed away from you at about a 45-degree angle. Bring your arms out to a T, making sure that your wrists and ankles fall in alignment. Inhale deep, and as you exhale, lower, bending your knees, finding goddess. You want your knees and your ankles to be in alignment, hands in prayer or at hips.
All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. We'll rise.
On your next inhale, you can press your soles of feet into the earth, straightening those knees, finding a wide-legged stance. And from here, bring your hands to your hips. And we're going to twist our feet so that our feet go from an angle to parallel to the short edges of the mat. We're going to do a wide-legged forward fold. So inhale, and on your next exhale, fold forward, hinging at the hips, keeping your back nice and long, and then eventually finding the floor or blocks. Lift your right hand up and place it sort of level with your nose so that your palms against the earth and the back of your hand is staring up at you. Inhale, and on an exhale, release your left hand from the earth, twisting your body to the left and extending your left hand towards the sky. Exhale, release that twist, bringing your left hand back to the earth, replacing your right hand with your left. So you're going to land your left hand just in the same spot your right hand was at. Inhale, and as you exhale, twist towards the right, pressing your left palm into the earth and extending your right arm up above you.
Lifting bars and danced on tables, hotel strings and ships that
Exhale and release your twist, bringing your right hand back down to the earth, bringing both hands next to each other on the ground, feeling this forward fold.
sending the trumpets, the marching wheelchairs, open the blankets and
On an inhale, bring your hands to your hips and lift halfway up, holding this for a breath. And on your next inhale, stand all the way up, turning around so you're facing the short edges of your mat once again. Inhale, reaching high to the sky, feet parallel and hips width apart. Exhale, folding forward at the hips, placing your hands against the earth, bringing your hands to your shins, lifting halfway up. Exhale, step your feet back to plank and keeping your knees together. Drop those knees to the earth, untuck your toes, and sit your booty back to your heels for child's pose.
we're so glad you have come back. Every living line will in your lap.
Bring your hands to the earth right on either side of your knees and sit up for Vajrasana once again.
Drums, guitar, or organ with chorus. As far as we walk from both ends of the sand, never have we caught a glimpse of this man.
From here, we're going to do camel. In your kneeling position, lift your body up so that your tops of feet and shins are against the earth. Your booty's lifted off your heels. Bring your hands to your hips. You're going to bring your thumbs closer to your spine so that your thumbs are on either side of your spine and your fingers are kind of fanned out by your hips. And on your next inhale, imagine your spine lengthening. So you're pressing your shins against the earth, pressing the tops of foot against the earth, and lengthening your spine, finding a delicate back bend, making sure that your knees are energetically squozen together. Don't forget to breathe. And on your next inhale, you can Release your back bend, sitting back up, and you can sit back so your booty is on your heels once again, and then curling forward, tucking yourself into a ball. On your next inhale, you can sit back up again, pressing the shins into the earth, taking your booty off your heels. We're going to do it again. So bring your hands to your hips once again, creeping your thumbs back so that they fall on either side of your vertebrae and fanning your fingers out around your hips. On an inhale, you can find camel pose once again, lengthening that spine. If you feel strong here, if you feel good, if you want to try and find a deeper back bend, you can release your hands from your hip at this point and reach towards your heels with your hands, making sure as you do this that you're not beginning to flare your knees apart, that you're flaring your rib cage out towards the ceiling. On your next inhale, you can release yourself from camel. Once again, bringing your booty back to your heels and curling yourself into a little ball. And we're going to do one more camel. You can do it the same way we've been doing it. If you want to try going back to your heels again this time, you can start your camel with your toes tucked. So you're going to get up on your knees again. Tuck your toes this time. Inhale, lengthening that spine. Exhale. And on your next inhale, begin to reach back towards your heels. Grabbing your heels when you can, flaring that rib cage outwards. Don't forget to breathe, keeping those knees energetically squeezed together. On your next inhale, you can release yourself. And on an exhale, drop your booty back to your heels and curl yourself into a ball. And then, whichever way you want to go to get there, find yourself on your back. So you can kind of curl forward and find yourself on your back. Just do whatever you need to do to get there. You're going to be laying on your back with your knees bent, your soles of feet at the earth. From here, on an inhale, you're going to press your feet into the earth, lifting your hips up slightly, and sliding your hands underneath your booty, palms down, palms facing towards the earth. You can lower your hips down now, so your hips are squooshing hands. You can extend your legs out and down and sort of begin inching your forearms towards your body. So we're going to do fish pose here. So on your next inhale, lengthen that spine again, lifting your chest, flaring the rib cage out, and tilting your head backwards so that the crown of your head falls either on the earth or a towel to lay your head on if it's a lot on your neck. Fish pose is an extremely powerful pose. It opens up the throat chakra. If you ever have feelings like you can't talk or you can't speak or trouble expressing yourself, I think you should do fish pose every day. Once you find yourself in a place of balance and strength, I like to do a low hum while I'm in there to open my throat chakra. It's a really wonderful pose for finding your voice and finding your power. Go ahead on your next exhale and release your fish pose. You can take your hands from beneath your bum, bring your soles of feet to the earth, bending your knees, and windshield wiper your knees left and right. From here, you're going to take your towel or your blanket and roll it up long ways so that you have this lovely long sausage of a blanket towel situation, right? And if you have a bolster, that's great. You can also use some pillows. So roll your sausage up and then lay it on your mat so that it lays across the short side of your mat. Scoot your body and position it so the towel lands where a bra strap would land. And once you're there, you can take your bolster or your pillows or whatever it is and put it underneath your knees, lifting your knees slightly for mountain brook pose. This is a restorative pose. We're going to hold it for a few minutes. This can also be a really powerful pose, and a reminder that we have to take time to give ourselves peace, to give ourselves rest. Lift your knees up, removing the bolster from beneath them. And you can gently turn to your side, lifting a little bit, pulling that sausagey towel from beneath you. And find constructive rest pose. If you want to do a little windshield wipering of your knees left and right, that's great. And on an inhale, press your soles of feet to the earth, lifting your hips up slightly, moving them to the right, dropping them down. And on an exhale, drop your knees to the left for revolved belly. Bring your arms out to a T. You can bring your gaze to the right. And on your next inhale, lift your knees back to center, press your soles of feet to the earth, lift your hips up, bring your hips back to center, drop them down. Inhale, lift your hips up, bring them a little bit to the left, drop them down. And as you exhale, drop your knees to the right, revolved belly. Your gaze can fall to the left. Inhale, bringing your knees back to center. Press the soles of feet to the earth. Lift your hips up. Bring them back to center. Drop them down. Inhale, and as you exhale, extend your knees, extending your feet out, bringing your legs out straight. And on an inhale, lift your right leg up, keeping your right leg extended and strong. And then embrace the back of your right thigh or the back of your right calf. Pull it towards your face, pressing the left leg to the earth, or supine split. On an inhale, release, and dropping that right leg back down to the earth, lift your left up. Press your right leg into the ground, and on an exhale, pull your left leg towards your face, either at the back of the thigh, the back of the shin, the back of the calf. On your next inhale, you can release your left leg from your hands and lift it so that the sole of the left foot is pointed towards the ceiling, and bring your right leg up so that the soles of both your feet are pointed towards the ceiling. Your ankle and knees and hips are all in alignment. Your hands are down by your sides, palms facing the earth. We're going to go into plow from here. If you have neck sensitivity or slipped discs or anything like that, I would suggest not doing plow. I would suggest you just stay in your leg up pose while we do plow, because you don't want to exacerbate that injury. If you're new to plow, you can put a blanket or a stack of blankets, 2 or 3 or 4, underneath the thoracic vertebra section, so the top of your back. The shoulders are in line with the top of the blankets, and the neck and head are off the blankets. This will lift you up, giving you a little bit more support through plow. If you're familiar with plow, then just do what you do. You're great. You're all great. So just do whatever is nourishing and comfortable for you. Inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to press our palms, our arms into the earth, and begin to bring our toes back to the ground above our heads. So in plow, your legs are up over your head, your shoulders and the top of your back are pressed into the earth, your hands are into the earth. Your toes can meet the ground above you / behind you, or you can just energetically try to get them there. Again, you don't want to force yourself into a position that is not optimal. If you find that you're having difficulty breathing, release yourself from this, stack your towels, or just return to leg up the wall pose. You must remember to lay a good foundation for these poses, to do them with help, with props, with tools, as to do them optimally. And then as we practice, we will find your most optimal pose for you. On an exhale, you can release plow, bringing your hips back to the earth, finding yourself back in leg up pose. If you have towels underneath you, you can pull them out and ditch them. And as you exhale, bring the soles of your feet to the earth to find constructive rest pose. And from here, we will find Shavasana. As we find a comfortable position for Shavasana, you can fold a towel to put your head on. You can put a bolster, your same bolster, underneath your knees again. You can cover yourself with a blanket. Anything really to get yourself nice and comfortable and rested for Shavasana. And once you find a place of stillness with your eyes softly closed, I'll ask you to call attention to your breath. Allowing with each inhale and exhale a deepening, a restfulness, a place of peace. As your body begins to grow heavy, yielding to the power of gravity, and sinking deeper and deeper into the earth. Call your attention to the crown of your head, and with each exhale, imagine the skin of your scalp loosening, becoming heavy, and sinking into the earth. Imagine a soft ball of light floating just above your chest. Emanating a warmth and a comfort. Admire this ball of light as it begins to lower, sinking into your chest, warming your heart, setting a fire within that radiates outwards to your limbs, past your fingers, past your toes, past your skull, the crown of your head. When you are ready, you can begin to introduce small movements into your body, a wiggling of fingers, a wiggling of toes. And slowly, when you're ready, allow those movements to grow into larger ones. You can stretch your hands over your head to Find a nice good morning stretch. And when you are ready, turn to your right side. Using your right arm as a pillow and tucking your legs into a loose fetal position. When you are ready, you can place the palm of your left hand to the earth and pressing into it, bring yourself once again to a comfortable seated position. You can allow your eyes to softly open. The light in me sees and honors the light in every single one of you. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste.